Okay, briefly, do you think Donald Trump would seek to bring an end to the war in Ukraine, and is that a good thing or a bad thing?
He's said that he would, and bringing an end to the war is a good thing. What we want to see is a just outcome for Ukraine. And a just outcome for Ukraine is one where their country has confidence in its security and its sovereignty into the future. We cannot have a situation where Russia finishes this feeling emboldened, in a stronger position, and potentially repeating the type of horrors that we've seen in the last couple of years. Of course, we want to see an end to the war. We'd love to see an end to conflicts in all manner of different situations, but how you end those conflicts is critical. And in this case, a just outcome for Ukraine, who were certainly not the aggressor in this case. Russia have been the aggressor.
Sure.
Russia have, of course, pursued this in a way that is a huge violation of Ukraine's territorial sovereignty, but also, importantly, if they are allowed to feel victorious and to be in a situation where they feel empowered to do it again, it sends a terrible signal to other autocrats around the world.
Now, late last week, Penny Wong, the Foreign Minister, bought a $3.4 million house in Adelaide, and you put a message on social media saying media shouldn't reveal the house. What was that about?
Safety and security for any politician, Andrew. Media are free to report these things. We disclose our interests. There's been plenty of a discussion about declaration of interest. We disclose those. If you think it's newsworthy, you report it. But when it comes to those safety or security considerations, it shouldn't be reported in ways where it becomes all too easy for people to identify the precise
had Penny Wong,
a prominent member of Parliament.
Sure. Had Penny Wong spoken to you before you ushered that tweet out there? Had Penny Wong spoken to you?
Penny and I had no engagement whatsoever before I put that.
Do you have a similar issue with Anthony Albanese's house purchase and where that's located? Do you have the same view on that?
I think in terms of it being easily identifiable, arguably there are issues there. The one point of difference I'd make is, of course, whilst Anthony Albanese remains Australia's Prime Minister, he is living in government-provided and government-secured houses.
Sure.
Penny Wong, me, anybody else, we're all, Peter Dutton, we're all living in our private homes that are privately funded and provided, and of course don't necessarily come with those same security standards that the Lodge or Kirribilli House.
Let me ask about flight upgrades then. Do you have any problems on the coalition side on this one? What's your understanding around how many upgrades Bridget McKenzie hasn't declared? Should she face penalty from Peter Dutton or David Littleproud if she hasn't made all relevant declarations? In fact, if she's failed to make a number of declarations?
Well, Andrew, it is a responsibility for us to make our declarations, and we should be keeping those up to date. And if people have had administrative errors in their own undertakings or those of their officers, then they need to rectify and fix those. What is important about this debate, and where I've certainly kept all of my comments, is actually then about if there are areas of influence, how does an office holder in government actually influence? How is that government applying that influence, and how does it influence their decisions? And in the case of Anthony Albanese, none of this really would have been a matter of public interest if it wasn't for the decision this government took around Qatar Airways and their refusal to provide them with additional flight slots in and out of Australia. And Anthony Albanese's never been transparent about whether he or his office exercised influence over Catherine King's decision to refuse those upgrades. We know that Catherine King gave the Virgin CEO every indication that she was about to approve them, and then suddenly the decision was delayed for months, and then it was rejected.
Wasn't Paul Fletcher...
There's never been a clear answer from the government about why it was rejected.
Didn't Paul Fletcher have some upgrades when he was in the transport infrastructure space as a minister?
I've seen media reports of that. I can't say that I've gone looking for those things. Paul, I don't think, has ever had responsibility for aviation policy, though.
Simon Birmingham, thanks for your time.
Thanks, Andrew. My pleasure.